All right, let's dive straight into this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really ambitious pitch from Liquidynamix Limited, a company that's essentially trying to fundamentally rewrite how businesses operate. We are definitely not just looking at another workflow automation tool here. What we're exploring is the actual blueprint for a sovereign operating system, one that's designed from the ground up for autonomous AI enterprises. Honestly, it's a concept that could completely shatter how we think about corporate structure. Just listen to this starting point. The artisanal firm is over. That is a massive, direct challenge to the very foundation of how we build modern enterprises. Liquidynamix is basically arguing that our current handcrafted approach, stringing together a dozen different pieces of business software, is entirely obsolete. The future they see is the compiled corporation, which means a business running as a single, reproducible, perfectly verifiable artifact.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the end of artisanal business, introduce the Adept OS, tackle the massive hydrogen economy, look at a $1 trillion market, check out their patents and team, and then wrap up with their $1.5 million seed ask. Let's get right into it.
Okay, part one, the end of artisanal business and exactly why traditional software is just failing.
To put the scale of this problem into perspective, imagine literally setting upwards of $18 million on fire every single year. Crazy, right? Well, that is exactly what modern enterprises are doing with completely unused software licenses. It's just a staggering symptom of a fundamentally broken system. Companies are frantically layering these disconnected apps, Salesforce, Slack, Stripe, one on top of the other. It creates this massive financial waste and operational chaos without ever actually solving the core integration problem.
But here's the real bottleneck for the future. Look at this number, 58 to 88%. That is the failure rate of current large language models in critical legal and financial contexts, mostly due to AI hallucination. Think about that for a second. If you're trying to automate a high-stakes business using standard LLMs, a failure rate that high is completely catastrophic. You simply cannot build a reliable, autonomous enterprise on technology that literally makes things up over half the time.
So you end up with these four major crises: SaaS sprawl, AI hallucinations, vendor lock-in, and what they call the carbon bottleneck. That last one is crucial. These crises illustrate a really painful truth. We might have digitized the artifacts of our business, sure, but we haven't digitized the business itself. We are still constrained by the carbon bottleneck, meaning a human being who needs sleep and inevitably makes errors still has to sit there and push the buttons.
Which brings us to Section 2, introducing the Adept OS, the sovereign enterprise platform. So how do we actually fix this mess? Enter Adept. If you check out the architecture, Adept relies on a 3-layer system driven by 12 mandatory kernel services. Think of these services as the central nervous system of the company, handling all the basic routing and memory. Above that, you've got an executive council of 7 highly specialized AI intelligences acting as a digital board of directors. Rather than duct taping a bunch of apps together, these AIs specialize in strategy, finance, risk, and they actively debate and propose actions over one single, secure operating system. Now, the real secret sauce here, the absolute game changer, is their deterministic kernel. In simple terms, this means every single corporate action is mathematically proven, immutable, and cryptographically verified using CL4-based verification. It's essentially an unhackable, append-only ledger of everything the company does. And this right here is exactly how they solve that AI hallucination problem. Because every single move is recorded and proven, your AI enterprise becomes completely auditable and perfectly legal, shielded by strict compliance. Moving on to Section 3, let's see how this incredible digital leap translates to the physical world, tackling the hydrogen economy. We are raising the stakes big time here, because Adept isn't just about automating your inbox or basic workflows. It is purpose-built to manage extreme, decentralized complexities in the real world, specifically the global hydrogen economy. Think about it. Hydrogen requires orchestrating intermittent production, highly complex storage, and cross-border logistics in real time. Traditional, chaotic software simply cannot handle that level of orchestration. But a sovereign autonomous OS, that can. All right, Section 4, a $1 trillion market. Let's talk about the financial realities of combining AI and green energy.
The numbers we're looking at are just massive. Liquidynamix is targeting a combined total addressable market, a TAM, of $3.1 trillion. Out of a $250 billion serviceable available market, they are aiming to capture $2.5 billion in revenue by year 5. And get this, that is just 1% of their serviceable obtainable market. They are bridging the $1.3 trillion hydrogen sector right into the $1.8 trillion enterprise software market. Capturing just a tiny fraction of this puts them squarely at the valuation level of a category-defining tech giant.
When you look at the competitive landscape, Liquidynamix is basically playing in a category of exactly one. Obviously, companies like Palantir and Vast Data are building incredible AI infrastructure, and you have folks like Plug Power handling physical hydrogen hardware. But nobody else is sitting at this exact intersection. Liquidynamix is genuinely the only player building a formally verified, deterministic kernel that is designed to autonomously run a hydrogen enterprise, entirely without vendor lock-in.
Okay, Section 5. Patents, roadmap, and team. Let's see how they build that defensible moat.
You know, a vision this big needs a serious fortress to survive. And out of 65 mapped patents, Liquidynamix has outlined these core Tier 1 innovations that will make it incredibly hard for competitors to reverse engineer their architecture. They're locking down priority right out of the gate with breakthroughs like privacy-preserving federated learning and mathematically verifying AI agent actions on a blockchain. This IP strategy is an absolute moat.
Their roadmap for all this is super fast-paced and highly capital efficient. It takes the company from a minimal viable kernel straight to a $50 million plus Series B expansion in just 3 years. They aren't trying to boil the ocean on day one, which is really smart. The next 12 months are hyper-focused. Build the kernel, secure a hydrogen producer as a first design partner, and file those core patents. From there, the 24 to 36-month mark is all about scaling deployments globally to 25-plus customers.
Leading this massive charge is founder Clive Aldred. And this is pretty wild. He has already done the conceptual heavy lifting, single-handedly authoring a 400-plus page architectural blueprint mapping out those 12 core kernel services. With that massive blueprint done, the immediate mission now is recruiting. They are targeting deep tech experts for the CTO and head of engineering roles to turn that blueprint into a reality. Finally, Section 6, the $1.5 million seed ask to fuel this next era of computing. To actually kickstart this whole paradigm shift today, the immediate ask is a $1.5 million seed round, which gives them a solid 12 months of runway. Notice the extreme financial discipline here. A massive 60% is dedicated strictly to the engineering team. They are prioritizing the deep tech build and that crucial legal moat, with 15% going to patents and legal over heavy early marketing. It's a very calculated, milestone-driven deployment of capital. So I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder. As the artisanal, handcrafted corporate model inevitably crumbles under its own chaotic weight, are we finally witnessing the birth of the compiled corporation? Because if a sovereign, deterministic AI can flawlessly orchestrate something as massively complex as global green hydrogen, what industry is safe from this transformation? The race to build the operating system for the autonomous enterprise has officially begun.